Who's ready for some Phantasy Star? Let's hear you. There we go. There we go. It's time for some blast processing with Bick and his any percent run of Phantasy Star 2. My friend, take it away.
All right. What's up, y'all? I'm bichphuongballz. Our small collection of Phantasy Star speedrunners has been waiting a long time for this run. I'll get into that later, but I'm very happy to be here to do this very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, super not tricky, totally glitchless, right? No cheating whatsoever at all. We're gonna beat this game the fair way in 42 minutes or less, I think. Something like that. All right, so we do have 2 naming incentives. Those are gonna be cut off pretty soon, actually. I think we're gonna really only have the first couple minutes of the run. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. But in the meantime, while I can name the main character whatever I want, I do actually have to name it a specific name, ABWX. We'll get into the reasons why shortly. But if we're all ready, I think I'm ready. It's kind of dreary outside today. It's a hard day to go out for a walk, so we're just gonna have to do it with this game instead. Yep, so I'm ready to go. Let's go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, go. This run is very technical in the beginning, so you won't hear much from me, and I'm gonna let Shadow Killer take over for a lot of the next 10 minutes or so.
All right. So this is Phantasy Star 2. First off, we're going to go in and talk to the governor there, and he's going to tell you, oh, there's all these mutants out there we need to go take care of. You're like, okay. So you go back to your house, talk to your cat waifu there, and she comes with you. So now we're going to start glitching out this game immensely. It's just crazy. So first thing he's going to do is he emptied Rolf, the main character there's inventory, and then he goes into the bank, and he's going to go into Nay's inventory just to glitch out Rolf's inventory even more. And what he's going to be doing now is, you see his inventory is empty, but because it's in a glitch state, we can actually pull items from these empty slots. So what he's doing is he's going through the inventory, pulling out certain key items and certain items he's going to be selling for some money. And the way this works is the inventory items are linked to Nay's stats. So specifically her defense stat. So he goes down to item 56, and that's the one that's linked to her defense stat. And he pulls the item out, and then he can actually change her defense and then pull a different item out of the same slot. So basically he's created this netherworld in Rolf's inventory, and he's going to be pulling all these key items out that are going to help us progress the game, specifically the yellow, the blue, the green cards, if you played this game, as well as some, healing items like the Moon Dew and the Visiphone, which will all be helpful a little bit later on. After he does all his glitching, he's going to move on a little bit, but there are a bunch of different slots, and each of those slots are linked through stats and through the naming. That's why we named the character ABWX. And basically, he's getting everything he needs for the most part. We're going to do this again, actually, in a little bit, to finish the game right now. So he's leaving town, and he's got going to sell a Laconia helm first, which he pulled out of the nether there. And he's going to be buying a couple of items, some telepipes, escape pipes for later on, just so he can travel around the world a little bit easier. He's got a little bit of a break now from the glitching, so he's going to be walking over to the next town.
Yep, this game has a pretty simple sense of progression. There aren't too many flags to trigger in this game, if you will. A lot of it's based on stuff you have in your inventory, so if you can just pull all of these key items out of nowhere instead of doing the game, then obviously you can finish this run a lot faster than you otherwise might be able to. There are some things we're going to have to do, but until then, it should be all good. So the other way this game kind of progresses is you, of course, will always hit new towns and whatnot here and there. And we're going to try to do that so we can recruit a couple characters. In fact, I should safety save before I forget. Right now we have like no gear. And so it is actually possible for me to die. But right now we're just trying to recruit 2 more characters. There's actually kind of a limit to how much you can pull out on that first round of glitching. So right now we do need to recruit more characters before we can do the next thing. So I'm just going to pop into town because all you need to do is visit a new town for someone to show up at your house when we go back home. From there, you're seeing me pop into the menu over and over and over again. If you hit the timing correctly, you can actually not increment the step counter and hopefully avoid some encounters. And then we have this cutscene coming, which is...
This part gets me.
It's a cutscene.
Okay.
Hold up. All right, so he's actually going to re-enter, and the game tries to play that cutscene again, but it doesn't know what to do. So now the overworld is glitched out, and he can basically walk through things, and there's no encounters. So he's going to make his way over to the next town here and get his next character.
Yeah, we're not really going to dwell on that cutscene other than to say that the game has a pretty dark story. Yeah. Okay, so what was I going to say? We need to... Where am I? I'm in a different town. We're going to need the names for Rudo and Amy basically right now.
Absolutely. Let me get one quick refresh in. Amy is going to be named Alice, A-L-Y-S, Phantasy Star Best Girl. And Rudo is going to be just simply B-D-D. There we go.
Understood. 2 really good names. Here we go. Okay, so we have B-D-D. It's so nice of them to just say, if you don't like my name, just rename me. They actually say something akin to that. Okay, and then we have Alice, was it?
Yeah.
Definitely means nothing will happen to her, ever.
Oh, jeez.
And then I'm going to hand it off to SK here, because I'm going to be busy again.
All right. So kind of like what we did before, we're going to empty BDD's inventory. And the way this glitch works is the netherworld items that he's pulling are linked to the character behind you in the party. So we've got Rolf with Nay behind him and BDD with Alice behind him. So that's how this is going to work. So we're going to be pulling a bunch of more items, more in-game items and progression items that we're going to be using much later in the game. After that, it's going to get real interesting because kind of how it works is not only are the items linked to the stats and the names of the other people behind you, but those stats are actually linked to the items in the slots as well. So we're going to do a little shopping here, and we're going to be buying, first he's going to buy some gear just for safety. It's a piece of armor and then a couple of weapons. But then we're going to head over to the item shop, and we're going to buy a bunch of antidotes and a couple other items. And then that antidote is a very, very important item. The value associated with the antidote is 5,140. So what that means is whenever he fills all of these inventory slots with antidotes, the person behind that character with the inventory is going to have their stats linked to 5,140. So that means their attack, their defense, their agility, and even their experience will be set to that number. As you can see, Rolf's name here is getting a little bit glitched as we move items around and start taking them out. We're pulling items 21 through 24 in Rolf's inventory. That's linked to his name, so that's what's causing that name glitch to happen there. So, like I said, all those items are going to increase their stats. Now, nays are going to be a little different. They're not all going to be 5,140 because we are buying some escape pipes and die mates, which are going to change a couple of the values, but for the most part, we're just boosting all of those stat values and experience values. So obviously we can beat the game in about 45 minutes. So Bic is still pulling out a couple of items, and then we're going to do that last shopping trip, and then the real fun begins as we continue this high action, high paced RPG speedrun. So a couple other things, as we mentioned, the experience that they're going to get is going to be set to that 5,140, but they don't actually have it yet. So we will be fighting a couple of battles, and you'll see the levels just skyrocket, because in this game, if you're unfamiliar with the Phantasy Star series, 5,000 experience is a lot, especially for this early in the game. So we're going to get some major levels. All right, so as you see, he's just going to sit here and buy basically as many antidotes as he can, and then followed by a couple of other items for Rolf. And then whenever he goes down to BDD, it's just going to be full of antidotes, which is going to change those stats for the other characters. And the reason, obviously, that I'm doing this commentary right now is there's a whole lot of counting and a whole lot of very specific item pulls that he has to do. So once all this glitching is over, you'll be able to hear a little bit more from Bic himself, as well as ask any questions you may have, because we're going to have plenty of time to hang out and, take a little stroll around this world. But as you can see, BDD's name gets a little messed up there as well, but almost done here, and then we will move on with the game. So even though we did pull a bunch of, progression items from the ether there are still a lot of flags that we have to set. So that's what we are going to do now. We're going to activate these flags, which will make it able to finish the game. And now we walkin'.
That's it. We've done all the work as much as we could. And so now you're going to see what the rest of this run is all about. This we can't run from, so we're going to have to fight. So you're going to see a little bit of madness here. It probably works out the best this way. So what you're seeing now is actually part of what you do when you replace everyone's stats with the antidote is you gain a few levels there, as SK mentioned. You actually end up giving them the curse from the second to last boss from this game. That actually goes away on its own if you can run away from the battle, but if you have to fight it, sometimes you get kind of owned. But thankfully, we didn't. So you might be able to notice the damage values I'm throwing out. I shouldn't be really anywhere near that value ever. So it's a big component of what the glitching actually does for this category. It's not just about key items and whatnot, and we'll talk a bit more about that, but it's also very much about what you did to the women of this speedrun. They are ultimately super powerful. They should outturn everyone. They do billions of damage. In fact, on some enemies, they do so much damage. Their damage actually wraps back around and they do 0 or 1 or 2, depending on who the enemy is. Actually, we'll see it right here. So, yeah, I'll just do it. It'll take time. So, 3, 2, right? But then Nay will do the right amount, 254, right? So, there's a lot of intricacy to it, and I'm not going to see ABWX. I'm not going to get into the intricacies of it, but because I probably don't even know half of it regardless. But all the item buying is pretty carefully routed out to align with the weapons we have access of buying. And you're trying to basically maximize the amount of damage you can do. But there's only so much you can do. There's a lot of different enemies out there with weird defense values, and sometimes you just can't do a whole lot, and sometimes you just take care of enemies in one swing. Just kind of depends. So this time I won't waste my own time. The bigger component now is once you can get through the menuing of the game, which is a lot, then it starts becoming much more about your knowledge of encounters and enemies. This game, for your percentage chance of running away, it's a flat value based on who is in the encounter. It doesn't really matter what the pack specifically is. It's just every enemy has some sort of flat value, like 70% chance of running, 40% chance of running. And whoever has the lowest chance for you to be able to run from, that's what it's going to pull from. So even though it looks like I'm kind of doing whatever, like depending on who I'm fighting, I will choose to try to run. Or I might have to choose to fight because it's just not worth trying if I'm just going to fail to run over and over and over again. That being said, you can, of course, get a 70% chance to run and fail that over and over and over again. Just, that's just how it works sometimes. But you just try to hedge your bets and see what happens from there. So if you're familiar with this game, I've already skipped 3 dungeons. You're supposed to rescue this person's daughter, which requires you to get a stick of dynamite before you can enter the dungeon. So you have to do another dungeon first to get the dynamite to enter dungeon number 2 to then rescue the person. And then we didn't do any of those. And then you're supposed to identify the source of all the monsters, and we didn't do that either. But one of the things we do have to do is in order to proceed in this game, you do have to open the 4 gems, no matter what. That's one of just the few flags in this game that you just have to do, or else you'll never get to proceed. And so the only way to get to the dams is to get the jet scooter, so we have to do this dungeon as well. But I'm uber powerful at this point. I don't have to grab any items or anything like that, so we're just chilling right now, rocking out. It's pretty nice that this game has really good music, because you're just going to hear a lot of the same songs over and over and over again. We're going to try to run.
Yeah, something to mention real quick was when we did that cutscene glitch before, the girl that you rescue was actually an item in your inventory, and we duplicated her, so we went through the pass once and got the cutscene, but we still had the item, so you enter it back in from the other side, and that's what glitches out the game.
You're also getting to see the plethora of just weird enemy designs in this game for sure. This game came out in '89. They just got these super cool enemies and animations and stuff. That's was always the standout for me in this game for sure. So I really hope that you guys like this song, because you're gonna hear nothing but this song for a while. So if you don't like it, then you're just gonna have to learn to. Sorry.
I'll do some donations if we get started the song. Just saying.
For sure. Let me get through one more thing, and then I'll totally pass it off. At this point in time, it's definitely not. I'm getting really, really lucky with my encounters. So there's definitely a strange thing that happens in this game where the game, once you start a new game, the game knows to populate the overworld of all the planets of the game, and then the opening dungeons. And then if you are familiar with the game, then you know eventually the game will repopulate new dungeons as well as overworld with new enemies. You go from monsters to robots and things like that. So if, again, you're familiar, you also know that besides those 3 dungeons, I've also skipped Uzo Island, and I've skipped the climate control and things like that. So you're actually supposed to fight the first of 3 bosses in this game in that dungeon, but we just didn't do it. And the flag for the game to change over the encounters and populate the newest dungeons with encounters, that flag gets triggered when you kill that boss. But since we've never killed the boss, and the game doesn't know to put encounters in these dungeons, so you're actually going to just see me walk through these freely. The overworld, I'm still going to get encounters, but in these dungeons, it's going to be literally nothing but walking. So that's where this game gets its, I'm sure, very endearing nickname of the walking simulator, because that's all we're going to be doing for quite a while here, just trying to set these flags. And yeah, so it's totally a great time to throw it over to the host.
Yeah, I didn't realize this game inspired Firewatch. Incredible. All right, we have some developments here on the RPG Limit Break front. First off, we do have 2 donations from the runners from the Magical Scheherazade race. We got $20 from R. Barbaloot, but no comment, but thank you so much for that generosity. And we also have Synth Pop is back with a $100 donation. Darn right, he donated that. He said, I know it was going to be $5 for every minute I lost by, but R. Barbaloot cast the Monocum spell, and all these extra rupees appeared. Well, thank you so much for that sizable rupia to Meseta conversion with that $100. Thank you so much. Those donations in combination have put us over $72,000 for total event donation total so far. And we have eclipsed $1,000 out of that $3,000 remaining to get the glitch exhibition in for Fire Emblem Three Houses. Y'all are doing incredible, everybody. Let us keep it going. Let's go.
So just some things to note. If they ever target Ney or Amy, you'll never see them take damage unless it's an ability that ignores defense and does like flat values, which is certain abilities like from the mosquitoes or like AoE abilities, but otherwise they're very safe. My other dudes are definitely not safe. One's already dead. He'll be back though. But yeah, so like their defense is just off the charts. You can see they can't even display their HP correctly. Their HP values are actually 4 digits, and the game's only designed to show 3 digits for those values, so it can't even show how much HP they actually have. Yeah, they're always going to go first. Like, you're just like in really, really good shape. And my inventory is a bit of a mess because I messed up a couple times, but we made it work.
Yeah, so since a lot of these encounters or these dungeons are encounterless, obviously the encounters on the overworld are kind of what separate, your runs. That's where all the bad luck comes from. There will be some dungeons with encounters later, but obviously that's the big thing, is how fast you can do the inventory glitch at the beginning and your encounter luck throughout the run.
Yeah, they're really
obviously No, go ahead.
Yeah, so yeah, there really are just 2 components to this. It's yeah, can you just get through your menus correctly and very quickly, and then like how many encounters are you going to get into, and like can you run from them? And that's pretty much going to separate everyone's times on the leaderboards, just their menu speed, and also just like, oh, you got 2 more encounters than me, like I guess you're just not going to PB or something like that. It's a little silly, but that's just kind of how speedrunning works sometimes, or all the time, probably all the time. But
most of the time, for sure.
Yeah.
The in-game bosses can, waste some time and be a little trolly, but for the most part, yeah, it just comes down to menuing and encounter luck. So chat, we got a lot of walking to do. If you have any questions or anything you want to know about this run, feel free to ask and I will relay it to Vic.
Yeah, there's also a lot of love for picking these donations, so I might get a few in here. Thank you.
Absolutely.
$25. All right, we got $25 from some Diener. Seeing Phantasy Star, the Limit Break with my boys Bick and Shadow Killer. This is a pretty big deal. Have fun, friends. We also got $25 donated by Keese. They say, we miss you, Shadow Killer. Best of luck to everyone's favorite common household name, bichphuongballz. Yes, indeed.
My
Thank
girl,
you so much.
my girl Keese.
Oh.
Love you.
All right. Perfect. And we also got ourselves Nox with a $25 donation. Good luck, my speed hero. And they did spell this phonetically here to help me out. bichphuongballz. See you for Mythics 2022. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nox. See you there.
And everybody, during all this incredible commotion, we do have a bid war going on for the Fire Emblem Three Houses race. Let's go ahead and do a quick check on that right quick. Where's that at? Whoa. There is a mere $8 difference between Azure Moon Blue Lions and Crimson Flower Black Eagles. If you want to stake your claim with this Fire Emblem run, go ahead and get your donations in for that. That is going to be close, and that only gets closer as we get closer to Fire Emblem. So there we go. Get those donations in, everybody.
When you said those family names, I immediately thought of Legends of the Hidden Temple. Like, put my money on the Silver Serpents.
And the Purple Parrots have $5 ahead. Silver Monkey incentive for Fire Emblem. Let's get it.
All right, so this maybe is a good time to talk about some of the iterations. This is, obviously the current route, but it's gone through a couple changes. The baseline has always been the same. Pull the items out of the, glitched inventory, get super buff. But the way the glitching of stats used to work out was actually way more inconsistent. You actually had to fight battles and re-glitch over and over and over again until you reached the right level. So it was definitely not super consistent and not quite as easy. You also just weren't quite as buff. So you could actually potentially fail at the end. And the times back then were like over an hour. From there, work was done to really make it way more consistent. And even though it's gone through a couple changes from there, it pretty much was this. It's like as soon as they figured out the more consistent way to level up, things like that, by buying the antidotes and whatnot, then it got a lot better. So then it came from really smaller improvements from there in the routing of just like remembering that you could teleport from here instead of having to walk through a whole dungeon or things like that. That really pushed it through. So if you've ever watched speedruns of this game ever, you've probably watched it from Jaseed. He's like the man, the myth, the legend for sure. Just kind of pops up out of nowhere, out of hibernation. It's like, hey, I just found a way to be way faster at this game, and then all right, talk to you 2 years from now. Like, cool, see ya. But yeah, so you know, he's put in a lot of work in basically every Phantasy Star speedrun you've seen. He's like obviously not the only guy, but he's always been the one who's been a big part of like putting a core run and core route together that other people will then improve. Of course, Starboard has put in a ton of work. We also use Lori's disassembly like a crap ton. There's probably other people I'm missing. I think Huckleberry has done some stuff on some of the more even heavier glitched versions of this game, on the Japanese version. So as per usual, every limit break I sit here and I talk about how other people have done all the work, and then I just come in and you know, just grind and try to show off. But they've definitely done all the stuff that I've been able to kind of display here year to year. So it's definitely shout outs to them. They're all my people for sure.
Yeah, if you're into the music of this game, this is the run for you. You get to hear a lot of it. And it's good music. Like this series has fantastic music.
Yeah, these games are kind of rough to play casually now, but when you think about, like, again, this game being out in '89 and like the quality of music and visuals and things like that, and the depth of the game, and like different setting, you know, not your standard fantasy setting, and like with a much more mature and dark storyline, it's pretty wild to think this game is just so friggin' old. And, you know, when you do play it casually in 2022, you will be like, yes, this game is really freaking old, but I don't know, it did some really cool things for its time, for sure.
I would say PS2 and 4 stand up probably the best, even today. I mean, those are the ones that I definitely had the most fun playing. 3's a little weird.
All right, we got one last.
All right, so what we're doing right now... Oh,
yep.
There we go. I was going to say, yeah, what we're actually doing, if anybody wants to know, is there's these 4 dams we have to go to and open up. Because I guess there's a problem with the weather. Is that this part?
Yeah.
Maybe confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to open up these dams to help correct the weather. Before we were supposed to go fight these mutants, but we didn't do that. So we just went straight to this, which will open up the end part of the game. So obviously, if you were playing the game casually, you have to go into dungeons, get the key cards to get into these dams, but we pulled those out of nowhere, so we don't have to do any of that either.
Yep, the base storyline is like that for hundreds of years, thousands of years. They've basically let a supercomputer mother brain like handle everything about the planet they live on, the climate, like controls the climate, and like for all the farming and stuff like that. In Phantasy Star 1, this planet's actually like class processing, by the way. It's actually used to be a desert planet if you've played Phantasy Star 1, so that they've like almost in a sense terraformed it. And then, you know, after just hundreds of years of like super complacency, like now a bunch of problems are happening. The first was the monsters, and then in an effort to like stem the monster problem, I mean we skipped all this so you would just never know, but like you end up destroying the climate control center, so you get branded as terrorists basically. And now that the weather is out of control, we're actually threatened via flooding, so you want to open up these dams to kind of ease that pressure while you're technically supposed to be being hunted by robots. But again, the game didn't know to switch all the encounters over to robots hunting you down, because we never actually killed that boss. And so you still have to hit the flags, of course. Like, you just have to open the dams. Like, going the wrong way. There's just no choice. Those are just triggers that have to happen for the game to progress. But there's really nothing to do in the meantime except just traverse the areas. Just jam
Got a
out.
question from chat, Bick.
Go for it.
Is well, does Nay die? Why isn't Nay dead?
So not in this run, no. So because, like, the death of my purple character in the lead here is supposed to happen when you kill that first boss, but because we never killed that boss, she never actually dies. So you just get to keep her the whole run. And it turns out
Yeah,
she's
killing
super
Nay
good.
first, that boss is kind of a trigger for a lot of things that just don't ever happen.
Yeah, that's true.
We still got a little bit of walking left to do in this one. If you've got any donations, you can still squeeze a couple in real quick.
Thank you kindly, Shadow. We got ourselves $25 from Musashi219. So you had to make one more donation during yet another favorite classic series of mine, Phantasy Star. Thanks RBGLB for such a stellar event this week, and many more to come in the future. Donation goes to Runner's Choice. There you go, Beck.
Sweet. Okay, so we have an automatic battle here. I'm just going to play it safe, and usually you would just try to run, but there's actually a 1 in 256 chance to just soft lock the game. So we're just not going to do that. Just on some random frame, it will just let you run from the battle, and then just literally nothing you can do. So these guys are technically killable, but like there's no way I'm actually going to be able to do it. And you're just meant to get captured here. It doesn't matter what order you do the dams in, the game just knows on the 4th dam to attack you with these guys. Super sweet laser sound there. Speaking of super sweet sounds, you guys are gonna be in for it real soon. So I didn't.
Does killing the army eyes also soft lock?
Yes, yeah, you don't want to do that. It's incredibly hard to actually pull that off. Like, you have to go well beyond what we've done, but yeah, you'd be screwed. So in the interest of charity, I definitely didn't okay this past anyone, but I'm just gonna say right now that coming up, I'm gonna start holding the stream hostage here. Do you like this sound? If you don't like this sound, you need to donate right now, because I'm just gonna sit here and with this sound on until all that money rolls in. This is for Nami. I'm sorry, everybody. Just enjoy. I'm just kidding.
You can fix this, chat.
I'm not actually gonna do that, but it's a rough sound, I know.
Chat's saying beep a lot. I think they might be feeling it, Beck, honestly. It's the Autumn Jam.
Oh, this is fun.
It's nice, just like little callbacks to Phantasy Star 1, where Rolf keeps dreaming of the main protagonist from the previous game.
So obviously we've glitched this game a lot, skipped a lot of stuff, done things in orders we, weren't necessarily supposed to do them in. So the game kind of gets a little confused here in a minute.
Yeah, that was Tyler.
We're back in the hometown.
He's a space pirate. And then the game is supposed to play a new cutscene to set you up to go to Dizo, but again, because we never hit that Nay first flag, the game actually calls the wrong cutscene and just has you play the intro cutscene again. So we're just, oh hey, fancy seeing you here. And so I actually have to go back into my house and re-recruit the same people that I've already gotten, because yeah, the game just didn't know any better. And it's just like weird,
You BDD.
because it still lets you progress the game, so like it knows, but then it still just doesn't know to play the correct cutscene. Really bizarre, but I'll take it.
No, you can't have duplicate characters. It just removes everybody from the
Right?
party.
Yeah.
You just have to get them again.
Okay, off to space. So one of the newest route developments is instead of walking through this whole dungeon, because this is technically part of the overworld of Dizo, even though it feels like a dungeon. So there actually are encounters here. But one of the latest things that happened is if you save here with the Visiphone, which is a save anywhere item, it actually sets your teleport point to the nearest town. You actually don't have to traverse that area at all. It saved about a minute and a half off the run. So now we're in Dizo, and you may recall that part of being on this planet is to go through 4 of the worst design dungeons you've ever seen. And we don't have to do any of that because we have all the items already. So all we have to do is get to Esper Mansion, because that's really the only way to get you to the last dungeon. So got a little bit more we gotta do, but some of my favorite music from the game for sure, so still happy to be here. Oh,
Question from chat, Dick. Oh boy.
Marge Minor. No, go ahead, yeah.
Do you have to reset the glitch after the party members leave?
No, they're still glitched. Oh, goodbye. See ya, VDD. Wasn't a big enough deal after all.
Hate to see it.
If it works out, if things work out, then I'll revive them for fun. But otherwise, you normally wouldn't bother.
So we skipped Nay first because we did this huge inventory glitch, which allowed us to pull progression items that you get in those dungeons. So we just didn't go to the dungeons.
Yeah, like I said, most of this game's progression is based on the game checking to see if you have a specific item in your inventory, and then it's saying, oh, okay. So like, oh, if you have the recorder, that must mean we play this cutscene. Or, oh, you have all 8 Nay items, that must mean you're allowed to get to the last dungeon, things like that. But we only truly did everything that we had no choice but to do. Anything else is all extra. Nice.
Oh, we did have a somewhat special donation come in, if I may.
For sure.
Yeah, we got $50 from Puexel, saying good luck to my buddy Bick on getting those steps in and finally bringing this classic to RPG LB. Will we see the legendary Dizzo rabbits, though?
Tough sell.
Are we blessing the run? Thank you, Puexel. Do appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a short speech about this game finally making it in here. I'm saving for the end, though. Guess we'll just have to wait. Okay.
So if anybody is curious, the non-glitch speedrun of this is what, like 4 hours-ish?
I think if you really, really grinded it, it'd probably be in the high 4 hours. But, yeah, like 5 hours. 5 hours.
Okay, 5 hours. And I know when I played it, it probably took me like 25, 30 hours to finish. It's a pretty hefty game, to be honest. And it's just always cool with these RPG runs to get it done in 45 minutes. Because believe it or not, we're coming up pretty close to the end of the game.
This is absolutely the worst place to get encounters. As you can see, they take so long, even with the amount of power I'm supposed to have. So, unfortunate, but... what are you gonna do? Okay. So if ABAWX is dead, then they actually won't let you in. That's why we have to pull out a safety item in the beginning, which is the Moondew. And then for here, I think you're supposed to maybe theoretically talk to both NPCs, but the game is only checking to see did you talk to someone, or there 2 dialogue boxes or whatever, then it won't proceed with the cutscene anyway. Okay, it sounds gonna get a little glitchy. Meant to happen. Just pause a bunch of times to get past that. Otherwise it will lock, but easy money. So because we have all the Ney items already, he just straight gives me the Ney sword and says, alright, off you go. And yeah, so the record for this game is with the use of turbo, 35 and some change, and without the use of turbo, 36 flat. One of the big deviations if you play the Japanese version of this game is the glitching works out so that you can actually get the Ney sword from the inventory instead of having to get it the old-fashioned way like we did. And you can just warp straight here instead. So that run is, instead of 30 some odd minutes long, or the 40-ish it's going to be now, it's like 6 minutes or something like that, so it's just even faster. You may also be interested in checking out the soundtrack for the Japanese version specifically as well, because they did change the drums to the NA version. The Japanese snare drums are, depending on your taste, either incredibly awesome or incredibly obnoxious. They had to tone it down quite a bit, but I suggest you look into it for sure if you're interested.
I noticed our friend in the cryogenic freeze chamber doesn't say thought anymore.
Yeah. Sorry, fans.
Disappointed.
Look at the last vestiges of this dungeon song, and we're about to hit the final 2 bosses right in a row. The first of which is actually really, really difficult to get through. We'll see some of its shenanigans probably, but hopefully we get through particularly easily. Alright, why don't I go ahead and revive BDD.
Good choice.
I have bad news for BDD fans, he will die again, but it's okay. So here we have Dark Force. You get to enjoy this game's very unique boss theme. I love the song. It maybe doesn't feel super final bossy, but I'm a fan all the same. So Dark Force can do 2
BDD
things.
becomes...
Yeah, sorry. And he can AoE everyone, or that's his AoE right there. ABWX is dead. And he can also curse. And there are, I think, 4 or 6 varieties of the curse. Some of which are major and debilitate your character for the entirety of the fight until you get a lucky Ney sword proc, which heals it. There are also minor curses that cut your attacks in half. So you're really trying to avoid a scenario where everyone gets cursed, like what just happened right now. May did get a minor one, so she'll still get to attack. Amy will not be able to do anything, or Alice, excuse me. But because everyone's cursed, goodbye BDD, yeah, he'll just AoE from now on, and we'll just slowly whittle him down here, so he's dead. So it turns out the boss is only hard when you're not swinging for 250 damage every time, but otherwise it's pretty easy. And then we're coming up towards the end here. Time will not be when I finish the last boss, but that boss is about to come up. And now it's just, we finish off with Ladies' Night. Girls rule, boys drool, and here we go.
Mother Brain.
Super cool design. Mother Brain just has a flat chance to dodge your attack, so you're probably going to see a lot of misses here, and there's just really nothing you can do about it. That's just like at that last, salve of RNG for your speedrun. It's just like, oh, I missed 7 times, so I'm just not going to PB today, or something like that.
Yeah, and the Mother Brain sprite is so big that you can't actually see how much damage you're doing, but the girls are doing like 200 plus damage every attack. Got him.
Exit time's coming up, not yet. Basically, you think you're good, and they're like, oh wait, there's some other people here. So the lore here is these are people from Earth who you may notice a trend here for things these days where they destroy their own planet and try to find somewhere else. So the game ends somewhat ambiguously with the Earthmen telling you that they set up Mother Brain to make us docile so they could take over, and then you find that out, and then they attack you, and then you know, it's left ambiguous that did we make it or not. But I think most people feel for sure that your main characters probably don't make it. So that's the run. Oh, I didn't say time. Yeah. So,
Oh, we missed time.
Yeah. Sorry, my bad. Close enough, dude. But yeah. So let me just close off by saying this has been a long time coming. Jaseed tried once and couldn't make it. Then the next time Jaseed tried again and couldn't make it. Then Starbird was the backup, couldn't make it. And then I tried to throw in, and I was like, I am definitely making it. And then COVID happened. So it was like, okay, we're clearly just never going to play this game at Limit Break, literally ever. So 2022, we finally made it happen. Super happy to have done it. And because I finally broke the curse, I think I finally get to say I'm the greatest speedrunner of Phantasy Star of all time. Thank you very much. Just kidding. I love you guys. But yeah, there's your childhood favorite. I know glitches aren't for everybody, but sometimes it's just fun to see a game you spent 30 hours on just done in 40 minutes, you know? So thanks, y'all. It was a blast, and on to the next run.
And thank you so much, Vic, for getting to show off Phantasy Star 2 for all of us. Come on, audience, one more round of applause. Let's go. Let's go. Got one more donation that came in to close out that run. We have $255 from Dill Wolf. They say a donation on behalf of the true hero of the run. Oh, thank you, Lol. True star of Final Fantasy or Final Fantasy, Phantasy Star 2. What am I doing? Okie dokie, artichokes. Let's go ahead and get you appraised of some incentives. We are making incredible progress on that glitch exhibition total, nearly $1,200 out of $3,000. Y'all are doing so well. We have 2 runs essentially, because that is going to be closing right at the end of the actual Fire Emblem run itself. So plenty of time to get that in. But of course, do not dilly-dally, because we also have a donation total to meet and smash by the end of the night. And also, I do want to shout out the bid war itself. I mean, this is as close as you get to deciding which run you actually want to see with your money, getting your donations in. Blue Lions is just barely hanging on, staving off Crimson Flower and Black Eagles by just $8. And again, that can change with the amount of time for Baldur's Gate. So everybody, if you want to make that a fun donation, total, make it a fun bid war. Go ahead and get those in. And hey, that is going to be it for my time here at RBG Limit Break. It has been such a comfort to tune in all week. I'm so happy beyond words that this event is back, doing so much good in the world. And I'm looking forward to getting myself situated to watch along with you. But hey, don't worry though. If you need some lore, look no further than our next host, the wonderful, sweet, and amazing LM Motas. And be sure to ask them about Loom when they take over as we head into Baldur's Gate and the final evening of RPG LB 2022. But hey, like I always say, don't get sad, get hype, get generous. We have incentives to meet, we have prizes that need to be won, and that donation total once again to just totally destroy. And yeah, I think we have just enough time to do it. What y'all think? We got just enough time to do it? I'm feeling good about it. All in service of Nami. Such an amazing cause. Couldn't think of a better way to spend a Saturday evening. Take care, everyone. Less than 3, and do not go anywhere. RPG Limit Break will be right back.
Welcome back to RPG Limit Break 2022. I'm Lore Master Motos here to host for the next 2 games, and we have 4 amazing runs left in this marathon. Only 2 more left in this prize block, though. We've got a Final Fantasy VII PS1 copy, which is a $10 minimum donation, a Magicite sculpture from Heroic Replicas, which is a $20 minimum donation, and a 3 Houses wall clock from Esclair Studios, which is a $15 minimum donation. All 3 of those prizes end at the end of 3 Houses, which is only 2 games away. In the meantime, we've got some donations from viewers like all of you out there. Eric R. sent in $28. Thank you so much. Someone named LM Motos sent in $50 and just says, Blue Kitties. That's in reference to our Fire Emblem 3 Houses bid war for the route that will completely change which speedrun is performed for you today.